Good morning, all of you.
Good morning.
Write your name in chat box. Which lesson are we learning?
Lesson number 12. 12.
Lesson number 12. Okay, name of lesson number 12.
The Adventure of Blue Carbuncle.
Yes, the adventure of Blue Carbuncle. Okay, what is the meaning of adventure? Last time I explained this.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Meaning of adventure. Meaning of adventure and meaning of carbuncle.
A bright jewel.
What?
A
Yes, very
bright.
good. Yes, yes. Carbuncle means a bright jewel, means a precious stone, a valuable stone, an expensive stone is carbuncle. And in this lesson, talking about blue color carbuncle, blue. And what is the meaning of adventure? What is the meaning of adventure? Okay, so meaning of adventure is interesting story. Okay, very interesting journey or interesting trip. or interesting story is called adventure. So remember this now, adventure means interesting.
Yes.
So in this
Yes.
lesson, last time we learned that Sherlock Holmes was
Yes.
working on one case, and Dr. Watson entered Sherlock Holmes' rooms, Sherlock Holmes' room, and Dr. Watson observes that Sherlock Holmes is solving a case. How? Because there were two things, hat and magnifying glass. One hat was hanging behind the chair, and second, magnifying glass was there. So, on the base of these two things, Dr. Watson thought that Sherlock Holmes is solving a case. Yes. So, Sherlock Holmes, when Dr. Watson saw two things, hat and magnifying glass, so Dr. Watson said sorry to Sherlock Holmes. Dr. Watson said, sorry to disturb you. Then Sherlock Holmes said, no, 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 my friend, I am very happy that you are here. I want to solve one case with you. So Dr. Watson said, okay, what is the case? So Sherlock Holmes pointed his finger towards the hat. Means Sherlock Holmes showed the dirty hat to Dr. Watson. And then Sherlock Holmes said, hat, this hat is received by Commissioner Peterson. Now, commissioner means a person who welcomes guests in the hotel. That person is called commissioner. Here, police commissioner not, but a commissioner means a person whose job is to welcome guests in hotel. Means standing at the gate of the hotel and welcome all the guests. So Sherlock Holmes said that the object is in question is a trivial one, but it reveals some curious facts. Sherlock Holmes said, this hat looks very simple. This hat is very simple, but there are many secrets. There are many secrets connected with this hat. There are many secrets. You know Peterson, the commissioner. Then here Sherlock Holmes asked question to Dr. Watson. Do you know Peterson, the commissioner? On Christmas morning, he brought it here along with a good fat goose. And then Sherlock Holmes said that got this. Peterson got two things. Peterson brought two things on Christmas morning. Christmas morning means on 25th December, Peterson brought here two things. Which two things? First one, fat goose means a bird like chicken, like this type of bird. Sorry, here. Okay, this type of bird, fat goose, like chicken. You think that chicken. So Peterson brought two things to Sherlock Holmes. One was fat goose, means a bird like chicken, and second thing, hat. Second thing, hat. So Sherlock Holmes said, I have taken both the things, but goose I have given to Peterson and I told him to eat. I have no doubt roasting at this moment in front of Peterson's fire. Sherlock Holmes said to Peterson that take this goose, take this bird and eat it. And hat Sherlock Holmes has kept with him. It was indeed getting interesting now. Sherlock Holmes started relating the morning's episode. And then Sherlock Holmes now telling that how Peterson got these two things. Now Sherlock Holmes is telling story of Peterson, that how Peterson got two things. Are you listening properly?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Pay attention, a very interesting story.
Yes.
So Sherlock Holmes now telling story that how Peterson got these two things. After some merry making means what? Merry Christmas. Now Christmas Day, 25th December, and early in the morning, after some merry making means after wishing Merry Christmas to friends and relatives, our friend Peterson was making his way homeward down Tottenham Court Road. And then Peterson, after wishing Merry Christmas, Peterson was going to his home. Here, Tottenham Court Road, here on the way means his house address. When he was going his home, he saw a tall man walking ahead of him with a slight stagger. Means here, Peterson saw a tall man. When Peterson was going to his home, he saw a tall man, and that man was slight stagger. Stagger means confused. The tall man was confused and carrying a white goose slung over his shoulder. And a tall man was having a goose bird over his shoulder, means hanging. The bird was hanging on his shoulder. As he reached the corner of Good Street, a row broke out between him and a group of thugs. Now, when the tall man stopped at the corner of Good Street, name of road, Good Street. So, when the tall man was standing there, a row broke. Row means one line was there. Some people were going in a line, so that line broke it. Means that line, now people were not in line. It is called broke. People broke the line out between him and group of thugs. And then in a line, some criminals were there. Group of thugs means group of criminals. As one of them knocked off the man's head, and the group of criminals came to the tall man and started beating the tall man. Started beating the group of criminals. As one of them knocked off the man's hat, means somebody took the hat from tall man's head. He swung his stick over his head to defend himself. And the tall man threw a stick which was there in his hand. He threw a stick to save himself, But what happened? That stick broke the broke the shop of window. At this point in time, Peterson rushed to the tall man's rescue. When Peterson saw this, that the group of criminals are beating the tall man, so Peterson decided to help to save the tall man. So Peterson rush means speedily Peterson runs towards the tall man to save him. Rescue means to save him. But the man, seeing an official looking person in uniform rushing towards him. But the tall man, what happened? But when the tall man saw that Peterson is coming towards me, so the tall man afraid because Peterson was in his uniform, commissioner uniform. So tall man thought that Peterson is a commissioner, means real police commissioner. So the tall man leaving two things, his hat and goose. He left his two things and run away. The tall man run away from that place. Why? Because seeing Peterson, he afraid and he run away. The thugs too had fled at the appearance of Peterson. And the criminals also. When criminals saw that Peterson is coming, so they also fled. Fled means run away. Thus our friend came in possession of this battered hat and the Christmas goose. And then Peterson took two things, the hat, battered hat. Battered means very old and damaged. The hat was not in good condition. So Peterson took two things, hat and Christmas goose, both the things. Did he not return them to the owner? Now Dr. Watson asked question to Sherlock Holmes that why did he not return to the real owner? Owner means that person, owner of hat means that tall man. Why did not he return these two things to the owner? So Sherlock Holmes said, my dear fellow means friend, my dear friend, there lies the problem. There is a problem. Although the small card tied to the bird's left leg says it is for Mrs. Henry Baker. Sherlock Holmes said, there is one card tied to the bird's leg. Bird means which bird? Goose. That goose leg, left leg, one card is there. And on card only written Mrs. Henry Baker. For Mrs. Henry Baker. These words are written on the chit, on the card. And the hat identifies its owner by the initials HB. And on hat, only two letters written. Only two letters written on the hat, HB. But there are some thousands of bakers and some hundreds of Henry Bakers in this city of ours. It is not easy to restore lost property to any one of them. And then Sherlock Holmes said, there are thousands of bakers in our city and hundreds of Henry Bakers. How can we find the right owner? It is not easy to restore. Restore means to return this lost property. Lost property means this goose and hat to the right owner. And then Dr. Watson asked, what then did Peterson do? So Sherlock Holmes said, Peterson brought them here. That's why Peterson brought these two things to me. I retained the hat of the unknown gentleman out of curiosity. while returning the goose for his family dinner. And then Sherlock Holmes said, I retained the hat. Retain means kept. I have kept this hat, and goose I have given to Peterson. And I told him to eat this bird. Make dinner while returning the goose for his family dinner. I have given the bird to Peterson and told him cook it and eat it. No problem. Then what clue could you have as to his identity? Now Dr. Watson asked that what clue? Clue means hint. What hint could you have as to his identity? Means Dr. Watson asked that how can we find the right honor? It is very difficult. So Sherlock Holmes said, we have only this hat, this dirty hat, and we have to find out the right honor from this hat only as much as we can deduce from the hat. Deduce means arrive at by reasoning, means use our logical power, our mind to find out the person from this hat. Use our logical reasoning, logical power. I was sure Holmes was joking. Dr. Watson Dr. Watson thought that Sherlock Holmes is joking. Joking means it is funny thing. How can we find the right honor through this hat? Only we have this hat. How can? So here Sherlock Holmes asked Dr. Watson. He asked me if I could gather any information on the man who wore that hat. Sherlock Holmes asked Dr. Watson to find out or make a list of points on this hat that find out some information. Sherlock Holmes gave this work to Dr. Watson that make a list of points, list out some points on the hat and the right honor. Okay, Dr. Watson said it is very difficult to judge and only on this hat, very difficult. Then also, Dr. Watson takes the object. Which object? Hat. Tattered. Tattered means damage. Damaged hat. The hat was not in good condition. That's why it is called tattered. Tattered object. In my hands for inspection. Dr. Watson takes the object in his hand to observe. Inspection means to observe. I could find nothing extraordinary about it to notify the owner. Dr. Watson said, sorry, I fail to observe anything about this hat. It is very difficult task for me. There is no any extraordinary things. There are no extraordinary points about this hat and honor of the hat. Then also Dr. Watson said it had a faded lining of red silk, means faded lining on the hat. Faded lining, faded means not seeing properly. Lining means line. Dr. Watson said that lines are there,
L.
red color lines on the hat and was cracked. Cracked means not in good condition. The hat is not in good condition. Dusty means very dirty and spotted several places. Spotted means here many times it has been repaired. Many times the hat has been repaired, which the owner had tried to patch up by smearing them with ink. And Dr. Watson said, Many spots are there, means repair spots, because the owner had tried to patch it. Patch up means to repair the hat by smearing them with ink. And the owner repaired the hat with ink, with color. The owner could be any one of the hundreds of Henry Bakers who lived in London. And Dr. Watson said, out of 100 bakers, one baker is the owner of this hat. That person lives in London. I can see nothing, said I, handing it back to my friend. And then Dr. Watson said, over, I cannot speak more about this hat. And then Dr. Watson handing it to Sherlock Holmes. Handing it means return the hat to Sherlock Holmes. On the contrary, Watson, you can see everything, but you fail to reason from what you see. Sherlock Holmes said, on the contrary means on the opposite side, Sherlock Holmes said, Watson, you can see everything, means you can see everything on the hat, but you fail to reason from what you see. Dr. Sherlock Holmes said, my friend, you fail to observe the head properly. You know everything, but you fail to take some points. Okay, then Dr. Watson said, then pray tell me what it is that you can infer from this head. Now, Dr. Watson, request Sherlock Holmes, please, you tell me all the points about this head, please. My friend started listing his deductions. Now, Sherlock Holmes, my friend here means Sherlock Holmes started listing his deductions. Deduction means through his logical powers, list of things. First point, Sherlock Holmes said, the man is an intellectual as his head must be large, judging by the size of the head. First point, Sherlock Holmes said, the owner of this head is so intelligent. Intellectual means intelligent. Why? Because the size of the head is large. The size of the head is large. It means the size of the head is also large. The man is so intelligent. In the ancient time, people were believing that a person who has a large head, that person was considered as an intelligent person in the olden days. So Sherlock Holmes, first point, Sherlock Holmes said, the owner of this head is so intelligent because the size of the head is large. It means his head also must be large. Second point, he must have been wealthy and would have fallen upon difficult times of late, as the head is an expensive one and is tattered now as the owner is unable to afford new one, to buy a new one. Second point, Sherlock Holmes said, the owner of this hat is so wealthy. Once upon a time, that person was so wealthy. Wealthy means rich person, because the hat is so expensive. The hat is so expensive hat, and that's why the person is also rich, but once upon a time, and would have fallen upon difficult time, but at present the condition of hat is very bad. It means now that person is not rich person but poor person, and that person does not have money to buy a new one. That's why the person has repaired this hat many times, because the owner is unable to afford. Afford means to buy a new one, does not have money. Third point, he has tried to patch it up with suggest he is a man with self-respect. Third point, Sherlock Holmes said, the person has repaired, patch it. Patch it means repair. The person has repaired this hat many times. And this shows that the person is a man of self respect. The person is having self respect. That's why the person, the owner of this hat, has repaired the hat many times. Fourth point, Sherlock Holmes said, the hat has collected brown dust on it, which shows it had been hung up indoors most of the time. Fourth point, Sherlock Holmes said, the color of this hat is brown and very dirty hat. It means the hat had been hung up indoors most of the time. Means hanging behind the door most of the time. Hanging behind the door. And that's why this dust is there on the hat. And fifth point, Sherlock Holmes says, he is a man who leads a sedentary life and goes out little. And fifth point, Sherlock Holmes said, he is a man who leads a sedentary life. Sedentary means inactive. Now the person is not active. Inactive life he is living, and only rarely he goes out of the house. Rarely. And most of the time he is sitting in his house. And this hat with a week's accumulation of dust upon it shows that his wife has ceased to love him and does not bother him going out in such a state. And last point on the hat, Sherlock Holmes said, this hat is having weeks accumulation, means collection of dust. 1 week, 7 days, the person does not go out from the house. 7 days. And it shows that his wife has ceased to love him. And his wife also cease means stop to love him. Now his wife is not loving him, and that's why his wife does not bother him. Bother means disturb him. His wife does not disturb him to say, go out and earn money, because his wife now not loving him. So these 6 points about the hat. At the precise moment, Peterson rushed into the room, dazed with astonishment. Now, when Sherlock Holmes completed his conversation, completed the list on hat, just what happened? Suddenly, Peterson, the commissioner, entered into Sherlock Holmes' room. Peterson rush means speedily he entered into the room, dazed with astonishment. Dazed means what? Shock. Peterson was so shocked, dazed with astonishment. Astonishment means surprised. See here, sir. See here. See what my wife found inside the goose. Peterson showed something to Sherlock Holmes and said, see here, sir, see here. My wife found something inside the goose. He held out his hand and displayed upon the center of the palm a brilliantly scintillating blue stone rather smaller than a bean in size. And then Peterson put Peterson put the stone on the upon the center of the palm. Center of the palm means center of the hand. A brilliantly scintillating. Scintillating means shining. A blue stone. Rather smaller than a bean in size. And very small in size. Very small. And that stone, Sherlock Holmes sat up with a whistle. This is treasure trove indeed. I suppose you know what you have got. Now see here in this picture, Peterson. This is Peterson. He is showing to Sherlock Holmes. He has kept the blue stone on his palm. Sherlock Holmes said, "This is treasure. This is very expensive thing. I suppose you know what you have got." Peterson said, "Diamond, sir, a precious stone, a very valuable stone. It's more than a precious stone, it is the precious stone." Sherlock Holmes said, "It is more than precious stone. It is not only stone, precious, very valuable stone, not the Countess of Morcar's blue carbuncle." I said. Here, Dr. Watson said that it is, Sherlock Holmes said, it is the blue carbuncle of Countess of Morcar. Now at that time, Morcar was the main person, was a leader, like a king, and Countess means his wife. So his wife's blue carbuncle, I said, means Sherlock Holmes said it is Countess blue carbuncle. Okay, now only 2 minutes left. So from this paragraph, we will continue in the next lecture. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Understanding
Yes, sir.
lesson.
Yes,
Very
yes.
interesting
Yes.
lesson.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now you can leave and join the next lecture after 1 minute.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Okay, Khuda Hafiz.